Hi, and welcome to this episode of Little Sprout Speech TV. Grab your pen and paper because today we are talking about what to do to help your child sit still long enough to learn something new. I know I was over on the Facebook page about a week or so back, and somebody had said, my child won't even sit through a therapy session. I don't know what to do. How do we help them if they won't even sit still long enough for us to try to help them? So what I want to do is talk to you and tell you some of the tips that I use to help kids make it through a therapy session with me, but also this will apply at home when you're trying to work on some things and teach them some things as well. First things first, get rid of, and this is your first tip, get rid of all distractors, right? Get rid of all those things that are stealing their focus away. So things like, if they have a favorite toy, or the iPad if it's not time for the iPad, or they have the TV on in the background, any of these things are going to compete with what you're trying to do, and they are much more interesting. So why would I pay attention to mom when I have this going on over here? So get rid of those distractors. That's tip number one. Tip number two is move around. See if you can take whatever the activity is and make it into a movement type of activity where your child is getting up and moving around and not just sitting at a table for 20 minutes straight. Some children need to move around all the time. Some can handle 5 minutes at the table and then they need a break to go move around and run around the table 5 times before they sit down again. But if you can make an activity fun, and I'll give you an example, by moving around, then you're going to have your child's attention probably the entire time instead of just a little portion of it. So what am I talking about? Have your child, let's say you're working on the letter B and words that start with B. So if we're going to have, these pictures of different words that start with B, maybe you have the picture of a bird and it says bird under it, and maybe you have another picture of a bus and it says bus under it, and so on. You're gonna take these pictures, right? Print them off the computer. You can get them on Google Images, print them off, cut them out, hide them around, their playroom or around the kitchen or one room in the house, and turn the light off, unless your child's completely afraid of the dark, and then think of something else. But if your child's not and they like flashlights, this will be fun. Turn the light off, give them the flashlight, and have them go on a search for the B words. Where's the other B word? Is it under the couch? Is it, on top of the table? Is it hiding next to the TV? Where is it? And just make it a fun activity. And so that way, every time they find a B word, you can talk about this B word that they found. But now we have, we're moving in between, so it's much more interactive. Your child's body doesn't feel like this itch or need to get up and run around, and it'll just be much easier to get through the activity in the long run. So definitely move around. Tip number 3 is, when it's appropriate and when you're okay with this, use the iPad. I love the iPad in my therapy sessions. I can get any child to do anything on the iPad. So definitely use the iPad. You might want to go to the iTunes store and search for different things. So if you're trying to work on, words that start with B, maybe you could go and type that in and see if there's an app that targets that. Or if you're working on farm animals, for your little one, go type in farm animals and you'll get, I know there's tons of, apps that'll come up, and a bunch that are free. Download some free ones, find an app you like, and you can sit down, set a timer, and work on the app with the child and, point to different things, and maybe they make a picture with the animals, but you're naming them. Whatever the case is, there's lots you can do on the iPad. So let's review. The way you're gonna get your child to pay attention when you wanna work with them, whether it's you or somebody else, is get rid of all those distractions, move around, and use the iPad. Have fun with the iPad, okay? So those are your 3 tips for this week. I hope that everybody has a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking to you next week. This is Hallie Vulcan signing off.